Excellent. Beautiful. Well, thank you everybody so much for joining us, and particularly thank you to Miles Standish, who's taken some time out on his Saturday evening to connect with our team, our humble but growing team from Down Under. So we're so excited that you've made this time for us and to share some of your wisdom with us as well.
I'm honored.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I just wanted to do a quick intro for you, and then I'm going to I think, probably people introduce themselves better than other people can, but, I just wanted to quickly introduce you to our team. Like I said, we're so honored to have you, but someone called you the other day the Michael Jordan of the coin industry. I think there's probably better ways to describe you with some of your accolades and achievements, but certainly you've got a very impressive career in the coin industry. You were named one of the top 10 most influential people in numismatics, and have completely transformed the coin industry. Miles is also has a 35-year career in the precious metals industry, so we're really looking forward to all of the wisdom that he has to share with us today. And like I said, it's an absolute honour. He's also the vice president at the NGC, and was the first full-time coin grader at the PCG in 1987. He's graded many of the rarest US coins as well. Obviously, Miles has a role in 7K, and we're really excited to hear, his wisdom and insights in his role in 7K, and anything that he can share with us. Us being passionate members and builders of this amazing business that we're so blessed to be part of as well. But I feel like, Miles, you have a lot more to share with us than just your accolades and your list of achievements. So I'd love to hand over to you, and I'd love for you to share a little bit about yourself and your experience in this space.
Well, I'll tell you, I like I said, I'm very honored to get invited to a group from your area of the world. Truly an honor. Never expected these kinds of opportunities to happen to me when I first started collecting coins at about the age of 8 years old. Wouldn't imagine that I would be communicating through a small device, talking to a couple dozen people that were in locations that you all are at, New Zealand and Australia. I just think it's fantastic and such a great opportunity. I have a lot of things that I have accomplished, and you can look up those online, what those are. And let me just tell all of you this. It isn't because I came into life with, all this knowledge. I've always been somebody that whatever I wanted to accomplish, I tried harder. That's really what it is. I dropped out of college to maintain my career in the coin business since 1984. I've been either grading coins professionally or buying and selling, trading bullion and numismatic coins. Designing numismatic coins. Most of my history was in the grading side of things. That is one skill set that I took on probably better than anyone, based on the amount of coins that I've been capable of looking at and determining their condition and authenticity. But the brass tacks roots of it is the other things that I've accomplished in life is because I've tried very hard to accomplish goals I set for myself. So, and I say that.
Oh, we've just lost you there for a moment, Miles. Give us one sec. Oh no, we've just got a bit of a sketchy connection. Just hold one moment. Oh no, he's still talking. Okay. Just give us one moment, Miles. Can anyone else see him?
He'll be right there.
Looks like he might be moving.
The native land of Texas.
Ah, there we go. I think we've got you back.
Sorry about that. Had a little technical difficulties with my internet connection picking up in my automobile, but I couldn't hear y'all. But
okay, cool.
ultimately, all of the accomplishments that I've had is from having a great great creative mind of coming up with ideas that I thought would work to expand the collectability of numismatic coins and things that I felt that people would want to collect. And then, of course, I got into design work, which was a whole new level. Another area that people probably didn't think that would work, but I believed I could design coins that collectors would enjoy. And that's why so many of my designs that are all done exclusively through 7K have been, they typically always sold out. And, that to me, that's the very telling sign that collectors like the designs that I design. So, there's so much more yet to do. I'm dedicating quite a bit of time now in helping 7K expand its business with coin designs and knowledge and information and product lines too. So a lot of exciting things coming in the future. And I truly enjoying being a part of that.
Amazing. Well, Haley just said in the comments here, we definitely love the designs. But I'm really curious to know, how do you know what people are interested in? How do you get a sense of what kind of designs collectors are interested in, and how does that influence the kind of designs that you create?
Well, I don't create the design first. I create the idea first. And if you go through the history of design work that I've done, there's a lot of information behind each and every design that I've done that's important. The design is the final. The design is the final piece. More importantly, it's the information behind the design that I know that collectors would enjoy. Now, and I'll also tell you something else too. For all you folks that are down under, it isn't just about American history with me. I'm working to expand that beyond just American history. Sometime in the future might be something that rings loud and clear to folks like yourselves that it doesn't pertain to American history. But that's one of the challenges that I have as 7K expands. I have to work on designs that interest people globally too. So again, it's more about the information behind the design instead of the final design itself. If you just take, if you take the Statue of Liberty, or if you take Pearl Harbor is even a better example. Pearl Harbor, isn't just about the USS Arizona being sunk in the harbor there. There is so much behind that changed the world forever, not just in this country, but around the globe. It really obviously kicked up nearly the end of World War II, but it kicked up a lot of activity that affected everybody around the world. So that story isn't just about the design of those coins, but it's the story it tells.
Beautiful.
Excuse my studio today, it's kind of mobile.
Miles, I work from a car office nearly every day, which is a bit of a running joke with our team. So there's no problem at all there. We understand completely. Thank you for answering. I think that's actually one of the questions we had for you, which was, do you have any more internationally themed, collections coming, and even Australian-based collections potentially in the future? I know as particularly 7K globally, there's a lot more interest in. We love the US-based collections, but also historical or significant to other parts of the world. Is that something that you have in the pipeline, perhaps?
Well, let me just say this. I'm a US-based coin collector. That's how I originally started. But as my career has moved on, I fell in love with world coins. And to be quite honest with you, I think it would be a disappointment in my career if all I did was design world coins with US historical stories behind it. I think it needs to appeal to people in Europe, Asia, Central America, South America, New Zealand, Australia, Indonesia. So my goal is, over the course of my career, is to touch places all over the world. it's because 7K started with me. I hadn't done a design before until I had done the Statue of Liberty series. It was kind of live and learn too, as I met more and more members, like I'm meeting you folks for the first time. It's important that I share with the whole world a little bit of history out of your area of the world. So, as I will with many other parts of the world. So with time, I can't tell you exactly when. I usually let 7K make the announcements of my designs that come out. But I have been a traveler to your area of the world a couple of different occasions. And like I said, we were even trying to possibly work on something. We were discussing it last night at dinner. I love your part of the world. I find it to be very magical. Anytime I've ever been asked, what is it like in New Zealand and Australia, I've always said, it's just a magical place on earth with a bunch of good people. I will say when I compare some of the Aussies, I'll tell people they remind me of some of the Texans that I know. There's kind of a cowboy flair about some of the Aussies. And maybe you all know what I mean by that, but I found that on a couple of different trips that I made there with Andrea. It's just, like I said, you live in a wonderful place in the world, and your story needs to be told too at some place, in some time, in this road of mine that I'm doing with design. So won't try to forget you at all.
I love that. And I love the idea that, stories can be told through these designs and, through these collectibles. I think it's such an important way to historically create and record story. As humans, story is so important to us. So this is such a beautiful way that you can influence that space as well. I've got a question for you. What's your favorite coin that you've ever designed?
What's my favorite coin in general, or favorite coin that I've designed?
That you've designed.
It's funny. I've been asked that question twice in the last week, so I'm going to stay consistent. So, Miles Standish really loves history, and I love accomplishments, of what individual people have. They just went after it and got a lot done. So, if you ever want to dig up a little bit more on Benjamin Franklin, he might be the most accomplished person that I've ever designed. Even though Abraham Lincoln has did a lot for our country, George Washington, I give them high accolades of what they accomplished. But Benjamin Franklin, really accomplished a lot. Probably the most emotional coin that I've designed. It's the White House coins, and both those designs were designed after I made a visit to the West Wing and the Oval Office of the White House. And while at the Oval Office, the President of the United States returned to the White House in Marine One helicopter, and that's why one of the two coins that I designed has the Marine One helicopter on the front lawn. So that was kind of one of those, as we say in America, when you get excited about something, it hits you very emotional. When you get goosebumps on your arms, it's one of those tingling moments that I'll never forget.
Wow, that's pretty powerful, isn't it?
Can I throw something out? Because I think we had talked about this prior to the phone call.
Please.
Understanding the value and the importance and the different numismatic coins and bullion. And I haven't watched cricket enough to know. I know you've got offense and defense. Kind of like with American football, you play offense when you have the ball, and then when the other team has the ball, you got to play a really tough defense to hold them back from scoring. So I will tell you this: if you wonder, and you ask yourself the question about buying gold and silver or numismatic coins, I kind of look at it this way. And that is, gold and silver is your defense. And maybe some of you understood what I just said there, but let's say we have economic crash, change of currency, devaluation of currency, global turmoil, it'll be pretty good that you got a strong defense. But we know we don't expect that very often in our life. So it kind of comes up rarely. Not to say that we might be closer to it now in our lifetime than any time, but so I kind of look at gold and silver like that. The numismatic coins, which have a chance of evaluation increases, maybe going up faster, more rapid, based on the collectability and the non-availability of the item. I think if you go to Stack and Sell, you can see that the Statue of Liberty 1 ounce coin that I designed that came out in 2020, I believe the 7K price was $195. Well, today, I've heard them sell for $1,000, $1,500, $2,000. There's real offense there. And that's the advantage. That's just one comparison. I think you should all do your homework on anything that you get out of this conversation. But that's the offense that numismatic coins offer. Balance-wise, I would probably lean more towards numismatic coins for that reason, but always have a position in gold and silver. It's a self-choice. I mean, that's your own personal choice. But that's the difference. Stack and Sell is a good way to find out, what you can find out what things were, what people paid for them, and then eventually what they sold them for. And I think you can see really loud and clear, what the offense is about numismatic coins.
Beautiful. And I know they say, we look for rarity, we look for, MS70s and things like that, but they also say to collect coins that you love and ones that really speak to you. What would be your advice when people are wanting to create, a strong offensive strategy and find coins that might have some strong equity in it? Is it just to find things they love, or is there something else that they'd be looking for to really build that strong offensive kind of collection?
I think as you learn to be a lot of people in 7K have noticed to become collectors, and they're doing their homework, but they ultimately buy what they like. And I've always suggested that, you can look at vintages, you can look at availability, and you can look at price differences between one issue to another, and kind of make up your own mind on that. The demand obviously has only grown with the growth of 7K, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down.
Absolutely. And where do you see 7K going into the future?
Well, I'll tell you what. I remember that when it was a hope and a dream that 7K would be international. So here we are. And I think we've only grazed the top layer of sand on the beach as far as how many people can be involved. That's something that I've not been involved in before. This platform is, really as old as it is, 5-6 years now. But it definitely is probably one of the most favorable platforms in a direct selling marketplace, because you end up with gold and silver. You end up with numismatic coins, things of value. You don't end up with, as they say, potions and lotions and vitamins. And it's nice to have gold and silver stacked up.
I think all of us love when our DHL packages arrive, our silver arrives at our door. There's no buyer's remorse when you're collecting assets, are there? So,
nice
guys, I'm just going to open up to everyone here on this call, because I know a few people are itching with some questions for Miles. So if anyone has any, we might want to perhaps pop them in the chat first, and I can just allow you guys to pop in. I think Miles' internet's just unstable a bit. Does anyone have any questions? I know Rhonda or Steve had some questions around rating as well.
I must have answered all the questions.
Or not. You must have. Either that or everyone's shy.
They can't be scared to death. They can't be scared to death of me. Come on now.
You're pretty approachable. Come on. Anna, did you have any questions for Miles while we've got him here?
We just start calling people randomly.
I know. Richard said he's good. I've got more questions if no one else does, but Richard says that he's got a question. So Richard, do you want to unmute yourself?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Oh.
Hello, Richard.
Yes.
Can you hear me, Miles?
Welcome.
Hey, Michael. How are you?
I can hear you, Richard.
How are you?
Go ahead, Richard.
I think Miles is just a bit unstable with his internet.
Do you want me to still speak and see? I don't think I'll get an answer.
Let's wait till we get him back. Have we got you, Miles?
You got me.
Excellent.
Richard. Richard.
Hello, mate. I just had a question. I asked Cole the other day. We had a, I think there was a Tiffany's coin on there, and there was a mint state, a PF70, and a PF69. And I didn't manage to get the mint state, but I managed to get the PF70. But that was dearer than the mint state. And I just asked Cole the question, why? Is there a reason? Because I thought the mint state would be more valuable.
Is there a what? Why is there a what? What was that question, Richard?
Oh, okay. There was a Tiffany's coin on the page, on 7K page for purchase, I think 2 days ago. And it was a mint, there was a mint state, there was a PF70 and a PF69. The mint state sold out within 5 minutes. The PF70 I managed to purchase, but that was actually dearer in price than the mint state coin. And I'm just wondering why. Like, I'm happy with my purchase, but why? Is there a reason? Is mint state better than PF70, or is there different reasons?
Was the proof coin price more than the mint state coin?
Yes, it was. Just by about 20 or 30 US dollars.
Was there a mintage difference between the proof and the mint state?
I believe
this
the mint state
this
was
takes
less.
a little bit more. The mint state was less?
Yes, I believe so.
Well, Richard, that's why I don't price the coins. I don't know the answer.
Oh, okay. No, is mint state actually more valuable generally than the proof state?
No, it isn't absolutely one way or the other. Sometimes the mint state coins may have lower availability, depending on the mintages, or the proofs might have lower availability depending on the mintages. So there is no rhyme or reason for that.
Okay. So, and also just another quick question. PF69, sometimes those ones sell out before the PF70. I'm still learning, but I've been advised if you see a PF70, it's worth investing that little bit more into it. But sometimes I see the PF69 sell out, but I think that's just because of price.
Yeah, a lot of things sell faster based on a lower price.
Yep.
I always say buy what you can afford, and maintain what you want to buy. That's up to you.
Thank you. Thank you for that advice.
Very,
You see, I don't have all the answers, but I got
Could
some
you give
of
us some
them.
insight?
What's that?
I was going to say, Miles, could you give us a bit of insight into the grading process? I mean, I know it's a very detailed process, but could you give us a bit of an overview of what's involved in that and the differences between like an MS69 or MS70 and, your role in that sort of grading process?
Well, through a Zoom call, I can tell you, first off, in my almost 40 years of grading coins, numismatic coins, I use very little magnification. It's not about microscopic magnification at all. And when I want to look at something closer on a coin, I wouldn't use more than 5 power magnification. Now that might surprise quite a few of you, but like I said, I've worked around all the world's best coin graders, and have been doing it for nearly 40 years. It is done with very little magnification. Usually magnification is only used for authenticity problems, for authentication. And, with some older coins, sometimes they have problems that you want to look a little closer at. And that's why I might use magnification at all. But very little magnification is used. Really the difference between a 69 and 70 is, when you look at that coin, if you don't see anything, and maybe you want to put a 5-power magnification on it, but if you don't see anything wrong with that coin, the coin qualifies for 70, where, a lot of these coins that are, relatively modern coins, they're going to show any of the problems quite quickly, just because of their reflectivity of their surfaces. But they definitely, that's the difference between a 69 and 70. Like I said, they show their issues if they have them.
Wow, and I'd imagine it takes a 40-year career to be able to hone your eyes in that well, to be able to see that with such limited magnification. How are your eyes? You must keep them healthy to be able to see things like that.
Well, I've always had healthy eyes. When I started at a young age grading, and actually I started professionally full-time working at a grading service at 19 years of age. I had 20/10 vision. I didn't get glasses till I was 2, and correctively with glasses, I'm 20/20 again.
Amazing. Doing very well.
But my wife has always made sure that I go to the best doctors to look at my eyes to make sure my eyes stay healthy.
Well, it's like your eyes are your biggest asset by the sounds of it. So good on you. Miles, I've got another question here from Anna. Her microphone is not working. So she was just asking for the simplest way to explain the difference between bullion and collectibles. And I think this is a question we ask a lot. And I think we're always looking for a really simple way that we can explain it to someone who's perhaps a complete newbie to this space and wanting to just have a snapshot, aha understanding of the difference between bullion and collectibles. What would you say?
You know what? You cut out there. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Anna's question was, what's the simplest way to explain the difference between bullion and collectibles?
Okay. Bullion is sold based on its weight. And numismatic coins typically are coins that are traded based on their value, based on their mintage and their availability. Where you might have a 10-ounce bar of silver, obviously that's a bullion piece. You might have an American silver eagle. Many of them are traded based on their bullion weight, and then some of them are traded based on their condition when they got graded, if they got graded at all. But bullion items typically don't get graded; just the numismatic coins do.
Okay.
Hopefully that helps.
Is it helpful, Anna? Everybody's nodding. Everyone's giving us thumbs up. Yeah, thank you. It's always beautiful to hear because everyone has a different way of explaining that. And I think we learn something more each time. So that's really helpful as well. So thank you for that. And going back to this.
There'll be a quiz on Tuesday.
Yeah, I think everyone's taking notes. So we'll be right. We'll pass.
Can I ask something, Sammy?
Please.
Just a question for you, Miles, in regards to the MS-70 Silver Eagles. I had a question the other day from somebody, the difference between the MS-70 Silver Eagles that are minted exclusively via 7K and the difference between that and a normal kind of uncirculated Silver Eagle that you get in the Sound Money wallet. What's the significant difference? And 7K, they do mint those as limited editions. Is that correct?
No,
That
7K
was my
doesn't.
question. Thanks, Cole.
7K does not mint any American Silver Eagles. Okay.
Okay.
Now they may have had some graded by the grading service and put in a holder with a 7K label, like the state animal series or the state series, basically. But none of the Silver Eagles are minted for any company. They're minted exclusively by the United States Mint, and they get distributed by 12 authorized distributors. Okay. But those are coins that 7K chose to get graded. The ones that are not graded end up being in rolls or in boxes as bullion items.
Okay. And the other question I had too, that's awesome. Thanks for that clarity. The other question I had was in regards to the Silver Eagles. That the Silver Eagles come out, correct me if I'm wrong, they're minted yearly, eh? Is there a finite supply that's minted yearly?
They're actually minted weekly.
A week? Oh.
They come out every Monday from the United States Mint. And if you dig around in the Mint's website, or if you bought a copy of my best-selling book on Silver Eagles, somebody's got a microphone open.
Look, yeah.
You can take a look online. You can Google it online for mintage for American Silver Eagles, and you can see how many were made every year since 1986.
Oh wow, that's awesome. I didn't actually know that. So that's an awesome piece of information, because we always get asked the question, why Silver Eagles, why Silver and Gold Eagles, and why they're so valuable, in terms of that we know that they have a renowned nature globally. So they're known globally, and I feel that they're the best in terms of, like, if you're going to stack bullion, and if something was going to happen in the economy or an economic crash, like you're saying, do you believe that Silver Eagles would be something that would be a good idea to stack?
Now you have to understand something. I'm very biased. I wrote the #1 best-selling book on Silver Eagles. There isn't a bullion coin on the planet that has sold as well as the American Silver Eagle. Because of the pandemic and the supply chain to make the actual silver planchets that they make the coins from, has caused a shortage on manufacturing. You know, the Mint right now can make 50 million Silver Eagles a year, and they're having a hard time making 20 million this year.
Yeah.
So that's driven up the premium. So I'm pretty premium sensitive, meaning I'd rather have more silver than less silver, so more bang for my buck. So some of the other world mints that make silver coins are fine too.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Silver Eagles are great. They'll always be popular. You know, everybody will always recognize them. But the way the premiums have gotten, you know, there are other choices too.
Yeah. So what we've found, and from our experience, is sometimes, you know, you'll go to like the US Mint website, and you know there's huge premiums on the, and they have minimums. But then, you know, we have the Sound Money wallet technology, which allows us to get access to them with pretty low premium. So I really like that access. It's something that, you know, I feel that a lot of people aren't aware of. But when you actually shop around, you'll find that 7K, you know, the Silver Eagles in the Sound Money wallet are pretty awesome to have something like that, access to that.
Sure. Very good.
Well, speaking of 7K, Miles, I mean, I know there's a lot of moving parts to this business. We've got our autosaver, we've got the Sound Money wallet, which I know a lot of us really love. We've got stack and sell, so many different aspects of it. As members and as builders of this business, you know, we're curious to know, what do you love about, you know, what's your favorite aspect to 7K? What do you think really makes it stand out from, you know, I guess other businesses? And, you know, we'd love to hear a little bit about your thoughts on this amazing business we've got at our fingertips.
Well, you know, how many people do you have
I'm
online?
sure if I dropped out there.
No, I heard what you said. How many people do you have online right now?
We've got 20 of us on this call.
Okay, of all of you 20 people, have you ever made a cold call? You know, somebody that you hadn't met before, you decided to pick up the phone and introduce yourself.
Yeah, we've got some nods.
Okay, that's a cold call. So over 5 years ago, I made a cold call on 7K.
Wow.
And I liked the conversation. And then a short period of time after that, I booked a flight and flew from Texas to Idaho Falls, which is probably like flying from South Island to North Island or from Cairns to Melbourne in your countries. I got to tell you, I spent 2 days with Jason Arfman and Zach Davis and Josh Anderson and Blake Davis. And I said, I like these guys. I mean, I've been around in the business a long time. They were very surprised that I would come see them, but I did a little research on what I thought they were doing. I'm not saying I knew everything they were doing, but I just said, I got to find out more about these people. And, you know, it's been one of those situations where it was like, you know, I made a cold call and it really turned out wonderful. And as I've really gotten to know them, they've been fabulous people to work with. They partnered up with my wife, unexpected to me. I mean, they knew about the foundation, but, you know, they decided on their own that they wanted to be supporters, you know, of the Standish Foundation for Children. And, you know, they got good heart. They got good business acumen, very smart people, very intelligent. They've come up with things that our industry and the coin industry has never seen before. That sound money wallet, number one, stack and sell for people that buy coins in a direct selling marketplace. No dealer in our country's history has ever offered a place for people to go and buy and sell their items. It's pretty fantastic. They really went the 9 yards and beyond to create a fabulous company. And that's all I've seen since I've been around. So if that tells you what I think of them and why, that's my explanation.
I love it. I mean, that says a lot. It's so lovely to hear how much you love the founders, you know, of this business. And I think we all feel the same. It's something that there's real heart, there's real foundation, there's real longevity in this company. And I think it comes down to the people. And for so many of us, that's been our experience, you know, connecting with members of corporate, connecting with other team members, leaders, the types of people that we tend to attract to this business is a real testament to the business and what it's created.
I always tell people, I don't know who you all contact or have contact with the most, but, you know, it seems like for me, between Blake Davis and Jason Arfman and Reed Denning, I think Reed's the guy that cuts your checks, so he's a good one to know. I said, if people don't like those three guys, they probably don't like chocolate cake either, because everybody likes chocolate cake. So that's my explanation.
Yeah.
What's that?
I said, there's no hope if you don't like them or you don't like chocolate cake. You may as well give up now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And believe me, I've been around a lot of characters in 40 years. Okay. And I use that word character very lightly, but they're fabulous people.
Yeah. That's beautiful to hear from you as well. Thank you so much. I've got a couple of, now it's time for you to take some notes, Miles. I've got a few suggestions here in the comments of some coins we'd like to see, please.
Listen.
I'm sure you get that all the time.
Now, wait a second. Everybody that's got an idea, I appreciate you very much. But I'll tell you what, before you offer an idea, you got to have the sizzle and the marketing behind it and the real reason people would want to collect it. Yeah. I'll come up with that good design. That's not it. It's all about what really captivates somebody. Yeah. So it's more than just getting out your pencil and drawing something. But
you gotta penetrate the marketplace. You got to penetrate the marketplace.
That's
You know,
it.
there's a lot of things I could come up with, but they wouldn't sell. But if it don't sell, it's not a good coin.
Yeah.
So,
And
but I welcome ideas. I welcome ideas and suggestions.
Well, I mean, that
And
makes
if
sense
anybody,
why.
if anybody says anything about America's Cup, I give them accolades that's a good idea long term.
Rhonda, you're on. I think Rhonda's been talking about the America's Cup for a while as a coin series, and also the Melbourne Cup. So there's a lot of interest there, a lot of sizzle behind that one as well. But that makes a lot of sense why a lot of your coins are obviously US centric, because you've got such a massive marketplace as well. So when people are asking why we don't have, Australian based coins, obviously it's based on the market, the interest, all of those sorts of things, because you need to, from a marketing perspective, we're selling a coin collection. So, but Rhonda's excited. She said, yeah, baby. So I think she's very keen for the America's Cup. So you'll be the first to know. But yeah, like Haley says in the comments as well, we need to build the market here. And that's certainly something that, we're doing here in Australia. I think probably our team here is the biggest 7K team, and, growing exponentially here in Australia and New Zealand. So, any advice for us as builders, as people who are, leading the way, in this business and in this industry here in a pretty untapped market? What do you have any wisdom or any advice for us? You're on mute.
I would reach out as far and wide as you can. I don't think you're isolated to just Australia and New Zealand with the product that you offer. Gold has been important. Gold and silver, numismatic coins have been very popular since even Julius Caesar. So it isn't just, this is not a new thing. You're not, the products that you're handling is not new. It's God's money. It's from the beginning of time. So, you can go far and wide when you tell people about gold and silver and numismatic coins, because a lot of people don't know how to get it. And so you're providing a great service on showing them the way. Commonly, I live in a neighborhood of 400 homes, and people will ask me, because people learn after a while, oh, that's Miles, he's the coin guy. And, they'll ask me, where can I get gold and silver? And, do I have to go to my bank? And it's like, now your bank doesn't want you to buy gold and silver. They want you to keep those fiat dollars. They're not going to show you the way. And, 7K is a tremendous way for people to get introduced far and wide of what you provide.
Beautiful.
Can I ask something there, Sammy, as well?
Please go.
Just one other thing. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your feelings, your opinions on potentially what you feel is happening in the economy, and just to maybe break that down. I know that you love history, and you have you've written books and stuff like that, and you obviously have a massive knowledge base. So it'd be awesome just to touch on where you feel the economy is going and what could potentially happen. I'm not saying we're going to take it for granted, or we're not. We're just I'd love to hear your insight on that kind of that what kind of could potentially happen.
I don't know how culturally it works where you're at, but we all seem to have the capabilities of going to an ATM machine and getting our money out of the bank, and going through life, and we think this is just how life is. I think we're going to experience something different. I think in the end we're going to be okay. I'm sure for you folks down under, the way you've been treated by your countries, you're not necessarily feeling warm and fuzzy that way in the long run. It's a shame, because the image of New Zealand and Australia to our country has always been very, very good. It's a far, far away place that we all dream about getting to someday. Maybe that's likewise for you folks too, but Australia and New Zealand was, always, for me growing up, a great destination. I just hope to get there someday. And obviously I've had that satisfied, but something is going to change. Okay. I know in our country, fiat currencies have only had a lasting life of about 50 years. Okay. And we're at the 50-year point in our country. We went off the gold standard in 1971. And that has not been a healthy reward to us. We had less than half a $1 trillion in debt in 1971. By 1981, we had $1 trillion worth of debt in our country. Now we have $30 trillion in debt since 1981. As my father used to always say, the wheels are going to come off this thing. How badly? I don't know. I've got my offense and I got my defense, and I sleep well at night. That's all I can do. I could have good times with my family and provide and do something I enjoy to do and not worry about it too much. But I would think we're just at that point where change is inevitable, and change is inevitable regardless anyway. But on this one, there's going to be something globally drastically change. However, because I'm Miles Standish and I'm pretty positive, I think it's going to get better. And I think it'll be a better system than what we leave. So
Totally.
Totally. Have faith in keeping positive. I do believe the best is yet to come.
Totally. Thanks for that so much. I think that's so powerful, and I think that a lot of people, on this call in our community can benefit from what you've just shared. What we're feeling now. I just want to share with you. I know that you've probably seen, but there's some crazy stuff happening here. Like they say, a beautiful place far, far away, but there's some crazy stuff happening over here, and a lot of people, I guess, only feel it on the surface when it really becomes a problem. Well, I believe right now is a great time to be making sure, that we can sleep at night.
Well, I think what we should all remember is, these are our governments. These aren't our people. You and me might be separated by a lot of land and water, but we're in this together. It's how our governments act that we can't control. And they should always be smaller than we, the people. And that's the biggest point that I have to say about that. And that is, government should never be larger than us. And we just all have to stick together.
Power in numbers. Power in numbers.
You know what? We are the numbers. We are the numbers. I know that it's a difference of opinion on this, but this is why Americans don't want to give up their guns, because they don't want their government bigger than them. Most of us don't shoot up anybody, but if somebody wants to embark on our home, we want to be safe. But you cannot, we went through this in England when we came here, and I have a little bit of background with that because my great-great-grandfather was one of the original founders coming to the United States in 1620. But, we need to always be bigger than our governments. The government should always be smaller than the people. And we don't need to be controlled by our governments. And that's my political statement for on Saturday night here.
Very powerful. And I think you're speaking to people who really resonate with that as well. So, really appreciate that, and really appreciate the positivity as well. I mean, there's been so much negativity and darkness and fear over the last couple of years, and to see that, when we stay solution focused, that, there's that room for a better world and a better future, and the power in the people there is just beautiful to hear as well. So
one of the first statements I made at the beginning of the pandemic is we really have to look after people, because we don't do well as humans not circulating with other people. And to tell you the truth, I was more concerned about the suicide rate than I was the COVID-19 deaths.
Yeah.
And you know, that was probably at the time a bold statement, but it's what I felt in my heart. And I think, you know, depression around the world probably rose to an all-time high because of COVID. And I don't think that was a big benefit over what COVID was. So, you know, I jumped on this call not knowing any of your real deep positions, but I believe in people, and I believe we stick together, we do better. And that's why in our country, nothing against how your rules are. However it is, but you know, in this country, we are ruled by we the people. That's what we have. And I think that you know, we're given our freedoms by God, no other choice. And we want to keep them. And if we have a little gold and silver when it gets rough, we will persevere.
Well, with God's money on our side, I don't think we can go wrong. So it's such a beautiful thing to know. And finally, before we finish, you know, we talk about, you know, solution focus and the future. I mean, I see 7K as a real legacy company. I'm a mum, you know, I want to pass on freedom. I don't want my son to be, you know, an economic slave into his future. I don't want him to have a life of economic servitude. And we've got other parents on this call. We've got grandparents on this call. You know, what's your advice for leaving a strong legacy for our children and for our future communities and our future generations, you know, and how does 7K fit into that as well?
Well, I'll tell you what, I've had a lot of people tell me that they share the history of the coins with their children, with their grandchildren, and a lot of people are having fun with it. Mm-hmm. And if you can have fun with your coins, you know, you'll have a lot more fun with 7K. Mm-hmm. And I get that very commonly. You know, I've had retired nurses and doctors and school teachers. I've had school teachers say, you know, shame on you, you taught history better than we did in public schools. in a gesture way. But no, I think if you share, and you know, the beautiful thing about numismatics and bullion, not only does it teach history, but it also teaches math. And no better way than learning math with hands-on, you know, plus and subtraction, with market prices going up and down based on an ounce, a gram, 2 ounce, 5 ounce, 10 ounce, a kilo. So there's a lot of knowledge to be gained within the product sitting right there. It's your own classroom. And a kid won't let go of that knowledge for the rest of their lives. Homeschool 101, right?
That's it. We've got homeschoolers here, life schoolers here. So absolutely, what a gift it, you know, it really gives. It seems to be the gift that keeps on giving. You know, the more you delve into this space, the more it gives back. So that's certainly been my experience. And the deeper all of us learn, you know, what we have and how powerful this is, I think the more blessed we realize that we are. So, and, you know, so blessed to have your insights and your wisdom and, you know, some of your shares as well. So thank you so much for that.
Fantastic. It's been fantastic to be here. And I thank you all for taking the time. I know it's an odd time of day for everyone, but this was easy for me. And I really enjoyed being on. And I hope to get down to your area of the world sooner than later and get to see y'all.
Well, it's the best way for us to spend a Sunday morning, and we can't wait to meet you in person. I'm sure there'll be a lot of us congregating. If you're coming to Australia and New Zealand, we'll certainly make that worth your while. It'll be so fantastic. Before you go, I've had about 5 people in our comments say that they want a Great Barrier Reef coin before the Great Barrier Reef disappears. So I'm going to plant that seed for you, Miles. And that's our little suggestion here from our team here down under.
I'll just so you know, I've dove the barrier reef 7 times.
Excellent.
So
Research.
I'm a big fan. I love the giant clams that are planted along the reef that are just fabulous. And I love the fish life, obviously. You know, I'm an animal guy, and I love the sea too. Love the reef. One of my most spectacular bucket list parts of my life was the barrier reef. Wow. And enjoyed it very much.
Excellent. Well, we'll cross our fingers for a Great Barrier Reef coin at some time in the future. Fantastic.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. If I could just take everyone for 1 minute, if anyone just wants to put their camera on, if we could just get a screenshot of this call, if you don't mind, just for us to share with our team. If you don't have a camera, if you're willing to put it on, that would be amazing. And if you don't want to put it on, that's okay too. It's a Sunday morning. So if everyone could just
Smile.
smile, Janice, you can take the photo or a screenshot.
Doing both. And one more screenshot.
There's Janice.
Excellent. To our admin queen, thank you, Janice, for that. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Miles, so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure. We've learned so much. There's so much great content and you know, comments in the chat. They're just, everyone's just so grateful for your wisdom, your insight, and your humble time that you've shared with us. So thank you. We really appreciate it.
Love being here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Miles. Thank you, Sammy. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you.
Bye,
Thanks,
everybody.
everyone. Bye.
See you later.